Welcome back to Stockwatch. Before we get stuck back into your questions, let's take a quick look at some of the international markets and see how they're doing. We've got the US S&P up almost 0.4%, Nasdaq modestly green, Dow almost 1/3%. So they're still continuing to power ahead in the back of jobs data earlier today. And across in Europe, obviously now closed, the FTSE almost 2/3% green, the DAX almost 1% up, and the CAC around 40 almost 0.5% into the green. My guests, Jean-Pierre Verster from 361 Asset Management and Brian Rudd from Anchor Capital. So the question which filled the inbox yesterday and is filling it again this evening is Ellies. A number of folks, Johan Els in particular, he's been in contact with Wayne Sampson. He wanted a press statement released. He's worried about director dealings. Julieta did speak to Wayne and a couple of points that he said. He said one is directors hold 135 million shares. Directors dealings in the last 3 months, only 200,000 shares being offloaded, 0.001% of the holding. He also says that at the half-year stage, he was at pains to say to the market, second half would be tougher. I don't think that's much of a surprise. But a lot of the private investors out there are on taking pain is the best way of saying it. There's a stock that hit 10 Rand. Today it hit 6 Rand. Your take on Ellies?
So you're only taking pain if you bought in the last 6 months or so.
Yeah.
If you bought in the last 6 months, hopefully you also had a long-term investment horizon, not just as a trader, but as an investor in the share, and therefore in the company. Now, as you correctly say, Wayne Sampson did indicate that the second half would be tough. There's going to be a hole in the earnings. It is lumpy in terms of projects that they sometimes get, especially in Megatron, as well as the delay in the DTT rollout and the launch of ETV's free-to-air satellite TV platform, Open TV or OpenView. So I do think that yes, it will be a weakish result to the end of October, but they should have better prospects next year. So whether this is an overreaction, I can't tell you, because markets try and anticipate what will happen next, and what will happen next will probably be quite negative. So if you bought at high levels, maybe stick it through, but make sure every time you buy a share, you do it for the long term, so these short term disappointments don't get you off track of your investment decision.
At 6 Rand, is it a stock that you're looking at, or is it something that's starting to become attractive on your radar?
It's starting to become attractive again, yes. Look, I would prefer even lower levels, especially if we are going to have a weak earnings result soon. But it's not yet there where it's a dripping roast, I would say.
Yeah, a couple of folks said to me they would like 5 Rand, and I mentioned that there was howls of pain on the chat forums. Your take on Ellies?
No, absolutely. You know, it's a business that everybody had built in a lot of these expectations around certain projects that were due to come through in the near term. Those have now been delayed. Not like they've been cancelled or taken away, but you do need to then go and adjust your rating on that business for the next 6 months. They're not going to see big lump sums coming in. They're not going to see these big projects. So for the longer term, these projects are still on the cards. The earnings potential of these projects are still there, but they're not here now. So the company has re-rated downwards a bit and de-rated to say, okay, right, well, there's no earnings. The earnings aren't going to be great for the 6 months. We've seen that, we've heard it, management has told them that, but yeah, and it's also a case of, I think this is a small cap. So you've got some...
Liquidity becomes an issue.
Yes.
1 or 2 sellers can really drive a price, or 1 or 2 buyers.
And that's it. You know, if you're desperate to get out, you can take this thing down 10% in a couple of days, and everybody else starts to panic, where you could be just taking profits and running. But again, it's one of those to look at it and exactly as Jean-Pierre said, why did you buy this business? Is it for the long term? These projects are still in the pipeline. They're still there. This is a pull off from extremely high levels. I mean, this stock has run...
10 Rand was a little bit crazy. So at $6, is it a buy for you, or is your roast also dripping closer to 5?
I was going to say, if we can pick it up at 5, I'd be a lot happier.
Yikes, I mean.
Clients to please.
Great question coming through. 2 questions around Sanlam. One in particular, is Sanlam a good buy?